Hello and welcome. Today I want to talk about the Wuben Night X-0. This is a 18350 battery operated light. It has a waterproof Type-C charging port, several different modes, is IP68 rated, a drop rating of 1.5 meters. Weight's going to be 82 grams or 2.89 ounces with the battery. Length is going to be 57 millimeters by 24.5 millimeters by 28 millimeters or 2.24 inches by 0.96 inches by 1.10 inches. The modes are going to be moonlight mode for 1 lumen at 130 hours, low mode for about 50 lumens for about 40 hours, medium mode for 150 lumens for about 15 hours, high mode for 250 lumens for about 2.5 hours, and then for the Osram P9 variant that we have here, it's going to be 1100 lumens for about 1 minute, and then it drops down to 300 lumens for about 2 hours or so. It also features a strobe mode at 1000 lumens and an SOS mode for 50 lumens. Here on the table we can see the box that the Wuben Night X0 comes in. We have the unit itself with the battery inside. We have the spare O-rings in a bag here. We have the manual and also the charging cable, the USB-C charging cable. We have the front area here with this TR optic and glass lens. And it does have an orange peel reflector on the inside, which is kind of nice. So it adds a little bit of a smoother diffusion and still has a little bit of a throw. And the Osram P9 LED is right there in the center. And the side with the logoing and the CE on the side here. And then we have this really strong screwed in pocket clip, which you can remove. And this is the kind of pocket clip that I would find on a more higher end type of light, which I do like. It's got a nice blue color here as well, and a little bit of, not exactly heat sinking, but grooves here to dissipate the heat a little bit. And then we have the Wuben logo on this side and the battery designation detail on this side as well. And then on the top we have the screw points, which holds down the top here, and this little latch which has magnets here, and the button actuator here, and the USB-C charging port. And so this door will fly down like that and stay put with the magnets so it doesn't flop out. It does come off apart a little bit easily, a little too easy for my liking, but it holds together and doesn't come off when it's upside down or you use force. On the bottom here we have our magnetic tail cap here, and we have these small grooves to unscrew and take out the 18350 battery that comes with the light or insert it in. Not my favorite way of undoing a battery latch. In fact, it's probably one of the worst features about the light, but we'll get more into that later on. So that's the light in detail there. Let's go over the UI mode briefly here. To access the UI mode, this is a button down here, and we use the top of here to activate it, the metal, so you want to push it in the center here. So push that once and it comes on. So it also has memory mode in the UI system, so if I ramp it up to low mode here and then I turn it off and then I turn it back on, it comes back in low mode. And to cycle, just simply hold down and it cycles through all 4 modes. And then to get to turbo, you double click here and we are in turbo mode. Double click again and we'll get into the strobe mode, double click, and we'll get into the SOS mode here. Push once to turn it back to normal mode operations, and then push once again to turn it off. Push once real quick to get back to the mode you last left in. Now, what's interesting about the UI with this is that you can also customize each stage of the 4 different main output levels. So meaning moonlight, low mode, medium mode, high mode. You can kind of customize the parameter on which the light comes in on. For example, in moonlight mode that we're in right now, mode 1, you can have it at 1 lumen or 15 lumens. And to change that, simply go to the mode you want to be in and change, and then double click real quick and hold. Now what that's going to do, you can see it kind of ramping up a little bit and then ramping back down and doing a little blink. What that blink means is that it's reaching the edge of the lumen output for that mode. So 1 and 15, and anything else in between, it can vary the output. So what I'm going to do is set this back to 1 lumen. It's going to go down all the way. It's going to blink. I'm going to release, and we should be around 1 lumen output. So that's how you would do the UI system for changing the outputs on this. Now, what we're going to do next is get some beam shots and output settings and measurements with this, and also measure the current in terms of charging the light. Okay, we're back shooting at 24 frames per second with an ISO of 2500 and an aperture 6.3 with a white balance of 5000K on a Panasonic GH2 14 to 42 millimeter lens. And here we have my app that's measuring the lux, CCT, and CRI rating. And we have the Oppel Light Master Pro here in the center. So we're going to try to aim the beam about roughly 1.5 feet off the table here and measure the output for moonlight mode. And we're getting about roughly 52 lux, CCT is about 6400, and CRI is around 70 or so. Let's go to medium mode here. And we're getting about 609 or 500 lux, 6700 CCT, and same thing for CRI, 70. Going to high mode here, or rather medium mode from low mode, and we're getting a 1420 lux, CCT is around 6500, 6600, CRI is also around 70. Let's go to high mode this time, and we jump up to about roughly 7300 or so lux, maybe 8000 lux, and the CCT is about 68, 6900 with a 70 to 71 CRI rating. Let's double click here, and now we are at over a measurement of 50,000 lux, and we don't have any measurements for the rest of the beam here. Let's get that back out and go back into low mode here and just see what the BBL chart is. This is on moonlight mode, and it's a little bit on the redder yellowish tint. And let's go to low mode. Okay, it jumps, it's about the same area on the BBL chart, so let's go up to medium mode. And again, still in the yellowish kind of tint. And we go to high mode, and yep, approximately same values, and double click, and still the same values. Okay, so not bad. It maintains its consistency across the different modes, which is kind of nice. Let's go ahead and look at the beam shots on the table, and then we'll go outdoors and do some more shooting in the dark. But this is about 1 foot off the table with the light in moonlight mode, and we have a nice hotspot here. If you put it close up, you can kind of see a little bit of a square instead of a circle. There's no real artifacts to speak of in moonlight mode, but let's bump it up to low mode here. And we still have a nice smooth hotspot here with diffusion on each side. Let's go to medium mode, and again, still maintains its consistency. Let's go to high mode here, and it still looks pretty good. You can't see it on the camera, but it's got a nice tight hotspot, and it's very diffused out. And let's go to back down to low, and then jump up to turbo here, and that kind of just washes out the camera, so you can't see it, but there is a very nice tight hotspot and still a lot of diffusion on the side. So a very good type of light for up close work and a little bit of throw. So we'll do side profile and low. That was moonlight, and this is low, and medium, and finally high, and then turbo. And that's got a nice diffusion there, pattern. All right, let's head outside and get some beam shots. Okay, we're back shooting on a Panasonic GH6 at 2.8 aperture. White balance is 5000K. ISO is at the max of 12,800 with a 12 to 35 millimeter lens at 24 frames per second. Here we have the Wuben on moonlight mode, fairly bright in front of us. Let's go up to low mode here, and we kind of see about roughly in front of the camera 12 to 15 feet away. Then if we bump it up to medium mode, we can kind of see the log out there about 25 feet away. And on the right, we do have a pair of logs out there too, about 35 feet, 40 feet out. And if we bump it up to high mode, We can kind of almost see the backyard limit at about 55 to 60 feet out with the trees back there. And if we bump this up to turbo mode, we see a whole swath of the yard there, and we can definitely see the backyard. We can even zoom in. So that is our backyard. The logs at a great distance, about 65 feet out or so, 60 feet. Back it out, and we can kind of see the profile of the beam here. It's got a tight hot spot. We have the creek to the left and the log in front of us, logs and the rocks on the right. A very nice throw and illumination for a small light here, and it is heating up in my hand. Here we can see the Wuben Night being charged, and we're at about 0.89 amps coming out at a voltage of 5.05 volts. So it is drawing almost close to 1 amp out to charge the 18350 battery inside. On the top here, we can kind of see there's a red light here. This will change to blue. And this will also have different status indicators for the battery power. And if you look in the manual, it'll tell you exactly how that works in terms of showing the power left in the light itself. But it does draw a high current for the battery here. It's stepping down to about 870 milliamp hours, or current wise, and it's still at a 5.05 voltage. In order to open the Wuben Night X-0, you're going to need the assistance of a multi-tool. I've used a pliers to loosen the screw here, and you can put your fingernails in these little 4 grooves here. It's very difficult to do, and it's not the best experience, if not the worst experience I've had to replacing a battery. I suppose their engineering and structural design team figured that you wouldn't be changing the battery very much in this light, or they don't want you to. However, it wouldn't have been a big leap to put a easy way, like a coin slot or some kind of textured ring around the cap here to take it off. So that is a big negative in my opinion. But moving on, we're not going to go too much into depth. I'm going to turn this off here. So we're taking it off here. We do have an O-ring here, which we have 2 replacements for. We have the square cut threads here and a very, very strong magnet, which houses our 18350 battery from Wuben. This appears to be one with a protective cap on here. And we can see the inside here. Let me get another light so we can take a look. Okay. So we can kind of see in there how the contact is made and the tube. So not too bad. Your basic spring, which hits the head and provides a good amount of pressure to keep the cap from getting loose. So that's what the inside looks like in the head unit in the Wuben Night X-0. Let's go ahead and put this back together and see how well and how easy it is to do that. So screwing it back on is not as tough as trying to unloosen it after you've really tightened it down to get that waterproof sealing. And we'll turn off the light here. I want you guys to see how difficult this is to take in and out, and usually the idea is to not do this quite a lot, but then you have this magnet which kind of gets in the way of the pliers to tighten it, plus you're also marring the finishing on the paint. So if you're looking to collect something like this, it's going to be a pain in the butt to take the battery in and out once it dies. Let's do a little more of a tighten there. I suppose that should be good enough. So you really need fingernails to access this portion here, and it kind of breaks your nails. So that is a very big negative, and it does mar up the finish. So you could probably use some sort of felt tip type of pliers or something like that to get in there. But then you have the issue of the magnet kind of messing up your plier grip. So that's important to keep in mind when you're looking to purchase this item, and it's a big negative in my opinion. Overall final thoughts on this light. There's a lot of pros and a lot of cons with it. So we'll start off with the pros first of all. I do like the optic in it. The Osram P9 LED is a nice LED. You do get an option with a high CRI, which is good, and a slightly different tint, which is also good. I like the way it's laid out in an L fashion. I like my L fashion type lights. I like the feeling and the construction of this. It's a very solidly constructed light. My most favorite thing on this light, though, is not the LED option or the physical look. It's the pocket clip here, which has screws here, which you can take out the pocket clip or keep it on. And it's got a nice rigidity and a good contact point on a flat surface here. So that's important to note with the clip. And it also looks like it can go a little bit deeper in the pocket. The top side button, the USB charging on the outside is a cool idea. And the cap, the cover that goes over it is a nice idea. And I do like that, and like the fact that it's waterproof without having a rubber type of seal on it like most flashlight companies do. This one, it can survive being in the water exposed like that. So that is a nice idea. And it does run on interchangeable batteries, so that is a bonus. Now, the cons, I have a lot to list, so let's get through it here. On the top, this whole lid here, it's a nice idea, but these two pins on the side of the light can be an issue later on with rust or being broken or being fragile. So it's not the best robust system for a latch on top. The other thing is getting dirt and stuff inside the USB charging port and potentially in the top head unit here can cause issues of it moving back and forth, like say dirt or sand or something. And then the button actuator itself, it does not always accurately register the clicks. And that can be kind of frustrating when you're trying to get through the UI system of unlocking this and locking it. So it won't always be an accurate push down. So that is a negative. The other negative is probably the biggest one on the light itself is this tail cap. And this tail cap is very annoying, and you can't access it without a Leatherman type of tool. The other problem is it has a magnet in it, and if you use a tool like that, you're going to have problems with your tool being stuck to the bottom of the cap as opposed to into these grooves here. It's very difficult to take this out. Overall, I don't recommend it based on that alone. And I think they should improve the button actuator system, the door flap mechanism, and the engineering behind it should be a little bit more stabilized and more robust. That's all I have to say about the Wuben Night X-0. I did get this out for review from Wuben, so I want to put that out there right now. So I did get this for free to review, but I'm going to not recommend it to anybody until they fix the issues that they have here. Thanks for watching, and enjoy your day, guys.